It's a great pleasure to be here today in Scotland's capital city and what I hope will soon be the capital city of an independent socialist republic of Scotland. I bring you greetings from Dundee. I was at their May Day march and celebrations this morning, and we were unequivocal on the streets of Dundee that the power of the people should rest with the people, not with the pomp and pageantry that is happening in London just now. And I think it is important to note that there are May Day celebrations happening across Scotland today, because May Day, of course, represents the power of people, the power of workers to take control, the power of workers to win rights for themselves, for their families, and for their colleagues and comrades at work. That is why we are able to be here on a Saturday. Trade unions and workers gave us the weekend. And so as we remember May Day, celebrated in Scotland this weekend and last weekend, I think we bring with us solidarity and unity from workers across the country. Because our struggle today is one that shares many common elements of the struggle that workers have been through. A struggle often in direct conflict with the forces behind inherited wealth and inherited privilege. Struggles in a conflict against that pomp, pageantry and power on display down south. So I want to say unequivocally and very, very clearly, Charles is not my king. He will never be my king. The monarchy exists in large part to make people feel that wealth is only available to those who are elite, those who are born into it. A few of us may get some if we're lucky and play by the rules and work hard enough. But that is not the message that we are sending to our colleagues and comrades across Scotland today. We are saying that wealth is for all. It should be and must be shared. I am a Republican. I am a proud Republican, and I am a Democrat, and a proud Democrat. I believe that we should elect our leaders. Leaders should not come from positions of power and privilege and wealth only. Leaders cannot and must not be born into it. Leaders should make that decision to choose and should then be held accountable, responsible to those who elect them to serve them. Hereditary titles, King, Queen, Lord, Earl, have no place at all in a democracy, never mind a 21st century democracy. We do want power. We do want power, but we want it for everyone. We want to empower our neighbourhoods. We want to empower our communities. We want to empower the workers, those who live next to us, those who we go shopping with, those who we play with. We want to empower everyone in Scotland, not just those who have millions worth of jewels resting on their heads. And when I say we want power for everybody, I include those who currently are at risk of having their lives torn apart because of the excesses of this cruel and racist British state. Everybody who wants to live in Scotland, who chooses to make Scotland their home, is welcome here. Refugees are welcome here. It is only by standing up for these principles, for the principles that we all share, for the principles that stand against the elite, against power for the powerful, against power just because you happen to be born into it. That is what we will get if we stand together for a democratic, socialist, Republican Scotland. I want to end with a quote from a Republican who I'm sure many of you will be familiar with, James Connolly. wrote this on a previous king. We will not blame him for the crimes of his ancestors if he relents the royal rights of his ancestors. But as long as he claims their rights by virtue of descent, then, by virtue of descent, he must shoulder the responsibilities of his crimes and their crimes. And one last thing. I am sure, like many of you, as I was making my way up Carlton Hill today, I could hear the sounds coming from Hibbs just on Easter Road. And I'm pretty sure they were singing, "You can shove your coronation up your arse." Thank you very much.
I mean, it is a bit obscene to be watching £100 million worth of horses, carriages, jewels, and wild costumes when something like 1 in 4 families in the UK is struggling to feed their kids. It is simply obscene. I know that many people who defend the monarchy imagine them as some sort of quaint anachronism. Oh, aren't the costumes fun? It's a bit like something, it looks like something out of a Game of Thrones set. But it isn't a quaint anachronism. It is an active distortion of our democracy. For the first point, vast wealth is always a distortion of democracy. While we maintain the principle of one person, one vote, vast wealth has the ability to distort where power lies. And when we have one family who can inherit that vast wealth without paying inheritance taxes, without paying the taxes that every single one of us would have to pay to contribute to our public services, that exceptionalism of one family, that is not harmless. Not only does the king get earlier insight into all legislation that is passed in Scotland, but he has a direct channel to lobby for changes to that legislation. And as a government minister, I am not able to either confirm or deny that the king has lobbied me or my officials for change to that legislation. That is not a harmless anachronism. That is a twisting of unaccountable power. Power and wealth that is being handed down in one particular family to rule over us. But what comes down to the fundamental question, are we the subjects of a sovereign? Do we do his will? Or are the people sovereign? And does our government serve us? When I was elected to the Scottish Parliament, myself and all members of the Scottish Parliament have to swear an oath to the king and his heirs and successors. I did so under protest, as did many of my colleagues. It is so bizarre that in a democracy, I, who am voted by the people, chosen by the people to represent your interests and your values, have to then swear my allegiance to an unelected head of state. That is not a democracy. For me, one of the exciting things about working towards an independent Scotland is the fact that we will have the opportunity to create our own written constitution. Constitutions are enduring documents. They endure for generations, sometimes for centuries. We will have a chance to have that conversation about what kind of country we want to be. And in that written constitution, I hope that we will clearly state that Scotland is a republic, that our head of state and all of our governance will be elected. The inequality that is represented by the monarchy is a fundamental bit of social injustice. But some people say to me, oh, but Charles, he's quite good on the environment. Nobody who travels around by private jet has anything credible to say on climate change. For the Scottish Greens, we say that there is no social justice without climate justice, no climate justice without social justice. There are no kings on a dead planet. So when it comes to the monarchy, Scotland says no. Let's do better. Let's build a better, brighter, democratic future in an independent Scottish Republic. Thank you.